Welcome to the Tongue of the Trees channel. I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and today we're talking about what is lemongrass essential oil good for in terms of emotional, mental and spiritual health, and also how we blend it and its safety. So we've got a lot to get through today, haven't we? So let me tell you what we'll do. First of all, we're going to talk about the emotional, mental and spiritual sides. And actually, sometimes you'll find that they're so closely intertwined, it's hard to be able to separate which one works where in the mind and the emotions. So it's easy to do it in one nice big stint. Don't worry about taking notes. If you're a SWAT like me, I have to take notes on every video. We've put together the slides, so the bullet points about them will come up for you to be able to sketch down at your leisure in the 30-second recap before we move on to talking about the spread of these the cards, the Tongue of the Trees cards. What are they about? How do we use them? Now I'll give you a quick tip that lemongrass doesn't come up in the spread that we show you, but it does tell you about some of the oils that I was using that day and tells you a little bit about the knowledge base that goes with it. So hang on for that. Then we will look at the safety again with some slides, and then we'll hop over to Hungary, and Gaga is going to tell you about how to blend lemongrass essential oil. So what can I tell you? Oh, it's happiness in a bottle. I love lemongrass. Love it. Are you a person that beats yourself up? I am. I'm a person that really beats myself up. Do you know, I read once that on a daily basis, the average person has 80,000 negative thoughts about themselves. And my response to that was, is that all? I think I have far more than that. But lemongrass is very good at going, oh, that's not very nice. You just said something not very nice to yourself. But more important than that, it says, let's think of a situation, right? So imagine that I had wanted to put a YouTube channel together and produce some beautiful cards, and I wanted to sell those cards, and my brain goes, truthfully, it's not bad. It goes, yeah, but you couldn't produce those. You haven't got a visual bone in your body. And frankly, it sounds like an extremely expensive situation, and how are you going to do your artistry? You can't do it. Lemongrass yet goes, what if you could? If you could find a way to get over those hurdles, what would that look like? What if? Now, that was an extreme situation, but imagine if you tried to draw a picture and your sister is loads better at drawing than you. I'm not saying I have a sister who is loads better at drawing than me. She's loads better at a lot of artistic things than me. So now what my brain goes is, you're useless at things like that. Now I have to say, my gut response is to say I am useless at those things. But then when I do them, somebody goes, that's really good. God, you're really good at things like that. Because my brain knows I'm not as good as my sister, it tells me not good. So I have to say I do enjoy doing those kind of things. So I do persist with them. However, there's lots of things I don't enjoy. Because I'm not very good at them, I stop. Lemongrass goes, why don't you just give it another try? Just have a go. It's so good at being able to grow your creativity, to have confidence in your new ideas, the things that you are going to try. And it says, you know, just because you're not as good as her doesn't mean to say you're not that good. Try. It gives you much more confidence in yourself. But also, as I said, it makes you compassionate with yourself. What about if you've done something and you're not really okay with what you've done? You can't quite live with it. You feel angry at yourself. Those are dangerous emotions. Those are the kinds of emotions that chew you up and fill your physical body with disease. I'm telling you, I see it over and over again. The most important thing that you can ever do is forgive somebody and forgive yourself. Lemongrass is a great, great friend when it says that. It's very good at being able to go, I understand why you did what you did, because A, B, C, D, E, and you did yourself to protected yourself because A, B, C, D, E. No, you're angry, but it's okay, and you can let it go. Let it go is, it's more than a song on Frozen, although it's a tremendous song on Frozen. Honestly, it's the key to health. It really is. If you can let go jealousy, if you can let go resentment, anger. What would life look like if I didn't have that in my way? Lemongrass goes, let's just think about that for a second. How great would it feel if we didn't have that obstacle in the way? I have seen tremendous things happen to people who have worked with lemongrass. It's fast working too, you know. You sit down quietly and you take your time and you focus on, right. I can remember writing this in my book about cannabis. Cannabis essential oil, the hemp essential oil, is very much focused on forgiveness. And I can remember over and over again, whenever I meditated with her, it was like I could see myself in a situation, and when you breathe the oil, you kind of turned and looked at it and went, ah, okay, here I can see their point of view. So where hemp essential oil makes you see a different point of view, lemongrass goes, why don't you see your own point of view from a different point of view? Why don't you give yourself a little bit of grace? Why don't you be a bit kinder on yourself about this? You know, it's such a happy oil. It's really hard to stay angry when you're spending time breathing lemongrass. So there's a bit of a sharp girl. So we're going to show you the layout of the cards and tell you a little bit more about the Tongue of the Trees cards. And you'll see some of the information from the knowledge base about them. And then we're going to come back and talk about the safety. How do you use it safely? And I will try and think about how I can help you, if you're a rep, to sell this more effectively too. So, see you in a minute. Run through a quick layout for you to show you the different cards. Now, one of the things that we're not going to tell you in this video, in these videos, is the poem that goes with the cards. But for this layout, we will read them to you just so that you get a chance to sort of feel how the different poems look. So just thought I'd show you the cards. As you can see, lovely little box. I'll show you the other side. Boring stuff, except for cool stuff what I writ. Okay, so if we open it up, we can see that the cards just have one logo on, and that is because these originally were Gegle's cards. He's been selling these for a long time in Hungary. Mostly they've been bought by kinesiologists, interestingly enough. They've been doing the energy work with them. They haven't got any aromatherapy background, but they've been able to tap into the energetics of the oils to be able to move emotional blockages. So let's show you. So these come out nice and easy because we've got beautiful little ribbons. And let's get rid of that. So if I said to the cards, what energy do I need? What oils will help me do the best job with these videos? Let's have a... Now my friend Belinda used these the other day, and she does have a habit of shuffling them the wrong way. So we'll have to hope that they're all the way right up. I'm not doing a good job of keeping them that way. So let's have a look. do I need to do a great job? So I think, it's up to you how you do it, but I think cut it 3 ways, cut it back. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So first 3 cards off the top. Cedarwood Virginian. I'll tell you why I'm laughing at that in a minute. Heart Rose and Lavender. That's a beautiful blend, isn't it? Reason why I was laughing about a Cedarwood Virginian is when Gergely and I came to do the notes of all the different cards, we both went, oh, we've done these cards for Cedarwood Virginian and I don't really know how to explain them differently. And because I was doing lots of editing work, I went, oh, just leave it. So yesterday I did a meditation with Cedarwood Virginian and got the most beautiful, beautiful work out of it. So you must tap into that tomorrow, have a listen to that video and see it was really different stuff that came out. So let's have a look. So if we go to the book, we can see that there's a brown streak on cedarwood, and that tells us it's the woods. So we find the woods. Slowly but surely we find the woods. At the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the other cards just to cover up the other pages, because you know what? Sooner or later you're going to have to pay me for something. So, Cedarwood Virginian. Actually, I'll show you this, but I'll read it to you because I'm hoping that it doesn't turn back to front on you, but it may well do. So, Cedarwood Virginian says, hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. Hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. And I'd forgotten, I stopped halfway through because I'd forgotten this is the only one that went like a round. It kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And that taps in beautifully to the determination, doesn't it? I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. So, and actually, definitely watch the video on Cedarwood Virginian, because you'll see just how spooky that is when you see the meditation work I did. Now, you'll also see on here at the bottom of the page, there's the energetics. Now, we're not going to talk about these energetics at all in the video. You might want to go and buy our knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base is completely based on this, and it is a set of lessons on each of the aspects. So, middle to base. You're going to hear about that today when Gergely does his blending. So, that's there. It also vibrates on the throat chakra. So what does that mean? Within the knowledge base, there is a complete set of information about the different chakras. We do as a lecture on each different chakra, how it affects on the emotional body, how it affects the physical body, how it affects the mental and spiritual bodies, and how that's working. So when we're looking at the knowledge base, this information here describes how the energies move through the system. What energy shift has taken place that we are getting these different physical problems and mental issues. So we can see that Cedarwood Virginian operates on the water element and the earth element. And again, in the knowledge base, there's a complete section about, we talk about the about half an hour about the water element, then again about half an hour for the earth element, metal, fire, and whatever the other one is, gone out of my head. And then here we can see Sagittarius. Now, so that tells us that what planetary rulership it comes under. This is medical astrology, and this is actually how I see the different energetics playing out. Some people see it through the Ayurvedic, some people see it through Chinese medicine. This is always the lens I see it through. And usually we'll talk about how it's ruled by the moon or the sun or Saturn and the different trends that we see out. And when we look at an archetype like that, it's like Jade Shoots always says it's like a metaphor, and that's a great analogy of how you can see the thread playing out right across the medicine. And so you can see that Cedarwood Virginian is Sagittarius. So in the knowledge base, we talk about the different signs and planets and also the different houses. If I remember right, Angelica, for example, falls under the Pisces Aries cusp. So that's really quite a difficult one to understand. There's a whole lesson about the Pisces Aries cusp. And then again, Chinese medicine, it nourishes yin. What does that mean? What does it mean? It calms Shen. Shen is an interesting phenomenon all in its own right. It's the consciousness, our mental faculties, our imagination, our emotions, God with a small g, God with a big G. All of those aspects is a complete lesson about Shen and how the essential oils can affect it and change that to move the energy. And then we can see increases Pitta, reduces Vata, balances Kapha. So it's interesting, actually. I do know at the moment all of my oils tend to come out with earth energy. It's quite interesting hearing me do the earth energy lecture because it's entirely about the challenges I am facing at the moment. But if you are somebody who sells essential oils and you're looking for a way in all of the time, right? You're talking to the person at the school gate, for example, and you can see, she seems a healthy girl, to be honest. She's loving her kids, she seems happy. Imagine somebody who's got a really sing-song voice all the time. Oh, my darling, how did you get on today? Was it lovely? I know. And then child walks off. How are you? To everybody. If that sing-song voice never quite relents, then you can imagine that there's an earth energy imbalance. So any oils that fall under earth energy are good ones to sell. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about that, ways in, just kind of being able to see, talking to somebody, what might be clues of what's going on of that energetic shift, then head over the knowledge base to have a look at that. So what was our next card? It was Rose, wasn't it? Queen of Roses, as you know. I do love my roses. Let's have a look. So the flowers, I think, are at the front of the book, if I remember rightly. Beautiful pink. Oh, it's both flowers, aren't they? So rose, rose, rose. Damask rose. I was thinking we'd miss Rose out, but it's not under Duff for Rose. It's under, sorry, it's not Rough for Rose. It's Duff for Damask rose. I remember writing this one, actually. This is quite sad. So it says, standing by your graveside or sobbing into your pillow, I know your pain. On the days when you feel lonely, worried or sad, I know your pain. Through the nights where sleep seems far away and you feel like you might break, amidst the anger, the confusion and desolation, I feel your pain. For I was there, remember? When you smelled the roses of their love as your fingertips stroked my petals and tried to avoid the prick of thorn. I felt your hopes, your fears, your joy of deep connection. I ensnared it in my scent to help conjure that affection. In my fragrance, remember hope. Let my aroma you complete. May scent of celebration heal you, calm you, and help you sleep. For through me you are never alone, always loved, and open to give and receive more. Smell me, open up, and feel safe to feel love once more. Now I anticipate that these will be different for everybody, but that's entirely my dad talking to me. I feel quite choked up reading that, actually. When he died in
gave me a rose bush. My cousin works for a rose bush company, David Austin Roses. I'm sure you've heard of them. He's quite a senior manager there, and Dad arranged for a rose called Noble Anthony to be given to me and my sisters at the funeral. So I go and sit and talk to the rose bush. That's a great reminder that my dad's with me today. So that actually, Dad, that really helps. Thank you. So let's have a look at the energetics. We can see middle heart chakra, obviously. Water. Now, again, as I say, in the knowledge base, there is a much bigger lecture on water, but the energy of water is how it can flow around any obstacle and find a way to fill the space. So that's great. That's lovely. And Venus is obviously the planet of love, but there's lots more to do with beauty and and money. Actually, it's an interesting lecture on Venus. I like talking about Venus. Balance is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. If you don't know, Vata is very drying, Pitta is hot and fiery and moist, and Kapha is sluggish. So it brings it all into alignment. But in the knowledge base, as I say, different lectures on each of those. So it nourishes the blood. Well, I've got funny blood, actually, so that's useful to know, Dad. Thank you. Yin and essence. So yin is the feminine aspect. It's very gentle and passive and receptive. And it harmonises the heart and Shen. We just talked about Shen. So we're going to put all these in a blend in a minute. And so last but not least, the cards have told me that I should go for lavender, which I guess is probably just over the page. Still in the pinks, as you can see. Oh, I remember this one too. Cover them up, cover them up. Can you see? There we go. Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When you breathe me, dilly dilly, softly you dream. Anger and grief, dilly dilly, softly drift by. Worries and hurts, dilly dilly, kiss them goodbye. When you feel tense, dilly dilly, look for the bees. See how they buzz, dilly dilly, resting with ease. Learn from their hum, dilly dilly, for they all know. Learning to rest, dilly dilly, helps you to grow. Breathe in the scent, dilly dilly, lavender's light. Calm your stressed mind, honey, honey, surrender the fight. Release cares and worries, dilly dilly, I help you to see. Life is so good, dilly dilly, just let it be. Okay, I'm going to let them flow, not force them. This helps, this really helps, you know. I've got to tell you, when I was helping Gergley do this, he was sending me his notes, and every time they came across it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to do the cards. These are really hard. Didn't like my poems at all. Really found them difficult to do, and really I just wanted to be writing my Melissa book, which I kind of still do, but I'm feeling a bit happier. Now I've got the cards in my hands and I can see them because they really help. Honestly, they really, really help. So, and of course I might be biased because it's my words talking back to me, but hearing the plants and seeing it written down, it's very, very helpful. So, actually I've probably skipped the most valuable part of the process for speed. But when you turn out your cards, if you have got the oils, I would sit and breathe the oil as you read the poem. And that's very difficult to do on this camera like this, but because then you will really hear, you'll have that connection with the plant. It will open it up to you. So top to middle notes, as I say, Gergley's going to talk to us about the blending. Water, we've just talked about how that finds ways, effortlessly finds gaps to do things, doesn't force it, just gets around any obstacle. Heart chakra again. Mercury, communication, data, information. Yeah, that's very mercurial medicine. We'll talk about that. I know there's a very interesting lecture about Mercury. I originally wrote the Mercury ropes for the pain practitioner program. And so these are quite detailed lectures, about half an hour long, the medical astrology ones, because of course that's my passion. Neutral to cool is the action. Yeah, cooling like the roses. Activates chi. Now again, we'll talk about chi in the knowledge base, but basically it's the life force. You know how we said we talked about Shen? Well, if Shen doesn't have adequate chi forcing it through, then it becomes disrupted. And I always think about it feeling like you're treading water. So the activation of chi calms Shen, or nourishes Shen, or raises Shen, depending on which essential oil it is. It aggravates Vata. So yes, this is one of my favourite nags. So the world tells you to put lavender essential oil into every massage oil, into your moisturizer, into your bath. So it aggravates Vata, people. It will dry you out. That is how you get dry skin. Aggravates Vata, makes you a bit vapid, a bit dreamy. So all of the time you're like, you know, like the dreamers that wander around on a cloud. If you're not careful, too much lavender makes you that. Pacifies Kapha. So it stops you feeling sluggish, stops you feeling heavy. It's not really directly indicated for constipation, but that shift of energy through Kapha would release not only constipation, but congestion in the sinuses. And pacifies Pitta. Well, Pitta is hot, so it's calming. It reduces inflammation. Anything that's red, hot, angry, it'll calm it down. So there we go. So first, I've got my smelly stick. And really, this is only because then I can stick it down my top and you won't be able to see it. So we could use aroma pendants, we could use massage oil, sniffy sticks, whatever. This is just what works for me, and that's the most important thing, that it's the thing that works for you. So cedarwood Virginian is a fast oil, if I remember rightly. So this is quite a thin distillation. Ooh. And then we'll mop up everything off the table. Dip it up, wipe it up. Oh, so beautiful, it's smoky. It's beautiful, and I can tell you the lecture is about tapping into your ancestral line, and given that my ancestral line is full of wizards and witches, that's very helpful. Lots of plant healers coming to my aid. So a bit of lavender. Warm the bottle. You'll notice I cover the thing. It's not because I'm covering the labels, although it's because I can't be bothered going, don't ask me which oils I use, but it's more because it's very cold in this shed, so things get stiff, especially myrrh. Goodness me, when we come to do the myrrh video, I have to warm it up 3 weeks before. And then beautiful, beautiful rose. Look at the colour of that, beautiful. It's my favourite bit, you know, was it waiting for it to come out, just seeing the colour. Have I got the nerve to let it drop? I have. Go on, mix, 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 blend. You know, whenever I try and do videos, I always want to have the image of oils mixing, and it nobody ever quite videos that effectively. I think it would be beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that is sheer heaven. Just beautiful. So yeah, if you obviously want to buy the cards, there's a link underneath that tells you where to get them from. But also, if you want to use the knowledge base, there's a link through to that too. And goodness me, when you start to smell that and you feel all the knowledge base opening up, all the different shifts in the body and how they move and how they're executing through the physical body, it's really extraordinary. It's a whole new layer to plant medicine. So there we go. That is how to do the blending. Can't wait for you to watch Gerglo talk about proper blending in a minute.
Did you find that useful? I hope you did. I think that lemongrass is such a lovely oil. The card self-realization is a tremendous trigger in your mind to think, well, what's going on here? What do I have to do to put myself back in a good place? And it's a really, really useful oil. But also, guys, it's a difficult oil safety wise. So I'm going to tell you the list of people, first of all, that have to be careful, right? So the first thing is, if you take any drugs that metabolize through the liver, you're going to have to be careful. Things like if you're taking ketamine or methadone, not great. There are plenty of drugs. Thank you to Robert Tisserand, who has explained that these are CYP2B6 drugs, and they're metabolized by the liver enzyme CYP450. If you look at your drugs and you think, then we're not putting this on the skin. Remember, we can breathe it. Really can breathe it. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Also, if you are on diabetes medication, be careful putting this on your skin and using it topically. Again, by all means, use it as an inhalation. Likewise, it's a quite sharp oil to use on the skin. I wouldn't use it on children's skin at all. I would be careful of putting it on any damaged skin. So if there's any breakages, if you had it cut yourself or you've got a scab, stings like crazy and it's not very good at all. If you have eczema or if you have hypersensitive skin, I wouldn't use it either. Likewise, if you are pregnant, please do not use lemongrass. There is a suspicion that it could cause birth defects. Now, because does it seem to you now energetically like a kind oil? It's a kind oil to the mind and the spirit. It's not very kind to the body. So we go super, super, super low dilution. I'm trying to find the page. Please don't go any, it's less than 1%. In actual fact, Tisserand says maximum dilution 0.7%. I would say just go safe and go 0.5%. So how do we do that? Well, we take our teaspoon of oil and then we pour it into a bigger spoon. I really would go dessert spoon of carrier or tablespoon of carrier, even just with 1 drop. It's enough. Don't put it on the kids. Don't put it on the animals. Just really, just be very careful putting it on your skin. And if you are a healthy adult with no cuts and abrasions, fine, but keep your dilutions very, very low. Okay, so that is it. So I really would watch around the cat and dog. You by all means diffuse, but just watch them. Do not put it on their skin, please. It really is very irritating, especially, by the way, if your bottle is like mine, as old as the hills. This one's not going on anybody's body because the aldehydes go in, and you can smell it. To be honest, it still smells magnificent, but you can smell that the sharpness is coming through. It's not as stable as it used to be, and it's going to hurt someone's skin. So replace old oils, please. And incidentally, that looks like I don't. I only have 3 oils in my house, of which lemongrass is one, because I like to sniff it in the afternoon to make me a bit more stable. So I keep my good lemongrass in the house. Have you noticed the oils are disappearing? Sooner or later I'm going to have to tidy up because they're all down here, look. One by one. So let's hop across. I'm going to show you the slides so you can write down the drug interactions. I must say, Robert Tisserand, your work is spectacular. And please do get his book. I won't get anything for that little bit of a plug, but there's nothing close to it. However, there are brief safety things in my book, and I'll tell you in a moment how to get that too. And then we're going to go over to Hungary. Ever been? Tell you, Budapest is beautiful. Go and see a living room in Budapest and watch how a maestro blends lemongrass oil.
Hello again, Gergely again, and today I'm going to talk about lemongrass. And our keyword is self-realization. Lemongrass. A lot of people say lemongrass when I ask them to describe the scent or the aroma of lemongrass. The first word they come up with is citrusy. Citrusy, well, maybe, but I don't think that the citrusy describes best this oil. I would usually go for maybe call it a little bit tart, citrusy. So it's not the same. It resembles citruses, but it's not exactly the same. And part of it is because it has many aldehydes. It's a chemical group. Now, when you think about perfumery, and I'm sure that a lot of you know this perfume called Chanel Number 5, which in modern perfumery they used a significant amount of aldehydes. So if you smell Chanel Number 5, you might not say it has lemongrass in it, but it resembles the lemongrass scent. Anyways, if I smell lemongrass, let's say I smell lemongrass, it sort of conveys positivity for me. And that, hence the keyword we use called self-realization, because it just gives you positivity, it makes you happier, it makes you more courageous and more creative. So when it comes to blending, then I have to mention that it's a top note. It's not only a top note, which means that it evaporates quite fast, and it gives you the first impression in a blend, but it is also a very powerful aroma, a very powerful essential oil. So when you blend, take care of it. Take care, because it really easily overwhelms everything. Even one drop, just an extra drop you put in, and it takes all. So what it blends well with? First of all, because it's a little bit similar or familiar in the family, you could call the citrus oils in, and then it blends well with bergamot, with grapefruit, with lemon, orange, and so on and so forth. And also you could mention the petitgrains. They blend beautiful with lemongrass. Or lavender, lemongrass. First class. You could mention black pepper, or you could blend it with ylang ylang and other florals, obviously. Some of the woody aromas like atlas cedar wood or sandalwood, but you could also use vetiver, for example. Oh, that's also a beautiful combination. Or more interestingly, you can blend it well with thyme and most of the chemotypes. So chemotype linalool or geraniol, which is a flowery thyme variant. Also, you could use sweet basil, very interesting, very delicate. Or you could use cypress as another woody note. But also you could add some more spice into it, like with clove, or you could use rosemary, or it even goes well with tea tree. The only one oil that I am not a fan of, but a lot of people like it. Or you could use lemongrass patchouli, which is also a nice combination. And then you could use most of the eucalyptus species to blend with lemongrass. And then you could have a balanced combination of those. And then one more interesting combination that I would mention is lemongrass with coriander. Try it. So I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
absolutely love that, Gergley. Wasn't that lovely? I really enjoyed watching that. It's so nice to see somebody else's ideas of what to blend together. A couple of those blends I would never have thought of, so I'm excited to have a go. So we're nearly at the end. Just want to very quickly tell you a little bit about the people we've chosen to sell our oils for us. Fragrant Earth are the first company to support us. They're based in Glastonbury, which is the most mystical of places in England, and they have been operating as an essential oil supplier for over 40 years. They supply some of the most beautiful skincare houses in the world, really. When you go into their showroom and you see the places that have used their oils, you realise what good quality products they have, and they very kindly agreed to distribute the Tongues of the Trees cards for us. If you have a look in the below, you'll see a link to buy them. What I'd also say to you is, if we have made you fall in love with this essential oil, they can also send that out to you, and they are beautiful, beautiful oils. And of course you'll save yourself some shipping too, probably. What I will say is, just for transparency, Gergley and I will earn a commission off that sale. So if you decide to buy from that, not only do you get yourself a beautiful oil, it's a lovely way to say thank you to us for the information that we've given you. But hopefully, most important, get your Tongue of the Trees cards. You will not find a more satisfying way of using the essential oils. So thank you for being with us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Dexter's going to tell you how in a moment. And hopefully we'll see you on the next video.
You get your phone and turn it this way up, and then there's a little red subscribe button. Turn it grey by clicking it, and then there's a little bell. Click that and press all at the bottom of your phone or tablet or computer. It'll say you will receive all notifications, and then there's a little hand with a thumbs up. Click that, it'll turn it blue and it says added to your liked videos, and there will be comments, and if you want to, you can send a comment and say like hi's to Mum and Gergley, and then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.